Howdy, howdy, howdy. It's almost Christmas. Welcome to day number 6 of the train build. Woo! Mr. Lego Sheriff here is right. Today is day number 6, and today we are doing the station. If you want to see the previous parts, which is basically the train, the engine through the observation car, I will have a link in the description to the playlist that will contain the entire build as I'm doing it. Each day is a different part. Tomorrow will be the controller. Christmas Day, the day after that, hopefully, if I've done everything correctly, will be the final showcase of the entire train set. So, oh, and I will put a link in the description to my Instagram where I will have HD pictures to go along with each video. Not of the build, just of the finished piece. So, today we are doing the station. Now, the station should be pretty simple. In fact, I'm expecting this to be a pretty quick build. I have an idea in my head of what I want. Sort of a, actually, let me kind of... Here, we will take this and I'll do a quick sketch. So, we'll have a platform. Simple enough. Oh, I don't even know if you can see that. Yeah, okay. And then an actual building over here. Oh, something just fell. Well, probably with a raised roof. Or no, probably not. No, I take that back. I don't know what I'm thinking here. You might ask yourself, am I really using a 1930s mechanical pencil? Yes, I am. And yes, the eraser still works. You can't find a new pencil that the eraser actually works, but hey, this one does. So this will have a roof that goes kind of downward. So I'll just kind of make it look like that. And there'll be a separate roof which will come over here. And there'll be some little brass pieces that come down here. And I'm thinking a nice little bench right about there. And a little window. This is basically what I'm thinking for my horrible, horrible drawing. Thankfully, my things seem to be coming out better than the drawings of them. So, let's start by building the base, because that will be the foundation of the entire thing. So this is our basic platform. It's not 9 3/4, but it is a platform nonetheless. I actually did all sides. I never did that with the train, just because I kind of like the open fronts and backs. Made it look a little bit more mechanical, but I think for a station, just so it doesn't get moved around on the carpet, it would be better if it has 4 sides. Now, the nice thing about doing this is that when I am ready to paint this, I won't have to tape off any brass that's connected because I can just leave the base blank. I don't have to paint the base on this, so I can solder it after I've painted, which will be very, very nice. It is going to make quite a big difference. Now I'm going to work on the cabin, the actual building part of this. Now it's going to be about, I think, about half the size of this, and it's not going to be full length, because if it was, that would look kind of weird if there wasn't some platform. Probably about this long, maybe by this long. I'm not really sure what that equates to. I haven't measured. So maybe about 2 1/4 by... maybe 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 actually. If I leave a little bit of edge room. It's not going to be big. I could, hold on. No, I can't, never mind. I was going to say I can show you the station from my American Flyer, which is what I used to base the size on this. But I forgot I have a light drilled through it and connected, so I can't just pull it up and put it in front of the camera like I can everything else. But I think that's where I'm going with the cabin. Like I said, it's going to have two separate roofs. One on the little cabin part of it, and then another awning that comes out over. And there's going to be a little window on the front and a door in the side, if that makes sense. So this is, now I'm getting to the point that we're kind of just winging it, because I'm not really entirely sure what I want here, but I have a basic idea. So let's start more building. And there's our little building, our little ticket office for the train. This front window is going to be a ticket window. I'm thinking sort of do something similar like I did with the train, the passenger car and the observation car, and have a window pane here that doesn't come down quite the whole way, and then maybe a little shelf, just a little brass shelf coming out. I have a little door in the side there. I had to put it off center because I wanted the tab to be centered for a little bit of stability. I put two tabs, one here and one here. That'll be for the roof. So I'll drill I'll cut two slits in the roof when I'm ready to put it on. Then these will bend, and then I'll have to put a little bit of paint on them to make them match. And then the side roof is going to sit just a little bit lower and come out to here with some nice brass beams supporting it. I'm thinking maybe a little bench. Should be pretty easy to make a little brass bench to go with everything. So the next part is the roof. And this roof will not be on fire. Tip from your friendly Arizona cowboy here. I used a bit of JB Weld to put this nice little awning on, you know, that way when they're getting their tickets they don't get rained on. And I also put some on the inside of this just to sort of strengthen it. If you want to use JB Weld, especially full strength, which is what you would want to use with something like this, and you don't want to wait hours for it to dry, put it in the oven for about 15 minutes on 200 degrees and it'll be dry. I mean, it might not be fully cured technically, but well, that part fell off, but this is completely dry. It's nothing to worry about now. I've got the roof done, both sides of it. Well, there we go. Both sides. I'm quite happy with it. I think it looks good. It's kind of unique. I think it looks better than if I had done one continuous roof. And I got this. I actually saw this at the hobby store the other day. Almost forgot about it. I left it in the bag. when I was looking for something to use on the windows of the two cars. It was just a clock face. I added just a little brass piece here that I used some JB Weld to attach. And it's 5 o'clock, I guess. I don't know why I picked 5 o'clock, but that's when I picked. And I'm thinking when it's all done, maybe I'll go up here. You know, train station should have a clock. I could put it out here too. It might be more visible. That actually might be really nice. Well, I'll have to think about that. So I'm gonna do that stuff, and I'm also going to build a bench. The bench is going to be really simple. It's just basically going to be just primarily just a piece of bent metal like that, and I'm going to solder on some legs to it. And we'll drill one little hole for one of the legs. I'll make a little bit longer to go through, and then I'll solder it on the bottom when everything's said and done. So let's start building the beams. Alright, so here's a basic idea of what this should look like when it's all done. Oh, well, now everything's falling apart. I gave up trying to solder the bench. I ended up having to use JB Weld on. For some reason, I just couldn't get the solder to stick on the flat piece there. I don't know why. Really weird. But that'll essentially go up there. Of course, that'll be soldered on the bottom to keep it in place. And there will be, wow, that just went completely through. Jeez. Sort of like that. And then I'm thinking there's plenty of room there to put the clock up. If I can move my hand enough, let me do this. Sort of like that, except without my hand in the way. And I'm just going to paint the clock. I'm thinking I'm just going to paint it gold, because it'll match the brass quite well. And then the bench just has one little hole right there for a slightly longer leg. And then afterwards I can solder it right into the bottom there. Now as for the window, I'm going to wait till I'm done, until I start working on it, until everything's painted. I'm actually going to paint this now. The only thing I might do, I might wait on this piece of the roof, because I'm thinking I want to add a little chimney in the back. Just a little single brass pipe chimney, you know, something for a wood burning stove. There we go. But, you know, that way the railroad attendant there can stay warm in the winters. But all the window stuff will be put on with adhesive, so it doesn't really matter if I wait or not to do it. And I think I can just probably trace this out and then start working on the window while this is all drying. Now, paint scheme wise, I could do the cop-out method and paint it the same as the train, but what stations do you know of that are painted the same as the train line? There's probably some, but not many. So I'm thinking, I'm partial to red brick buildings for this kind of stuff. So I'm thinking maybe a nice colonial red on this, and then just a gray or metallic silver, or maybe even just primer with some clear coat for the base and the roof pieces. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to clean this up, get it painted, and then start working on the window, and then should all be ready to go back together. Well, I still have to paint the 2 tabs, but other than that, it's done. I'll do that in the morning. I'll do that before I take the final pictures, but I'm about ready to hit the old hay. I absolutely love how this came out, though. There's the clock. I still have to clean everything, but all the fingerprints. And our little bench there. Aw. I can't help but think of the Brad Paisley song, Waiting on a Woman, which in the music video has Andy Griffith on the bench. Oh. I also painted this with the same paint. I put this in the oven a little too long, I think. I kind of changed the... I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera. It really doesn't look like it is. I sort of yellowed the clear coat on this a bit, but I really love it. I wish I could do it on here, but there's no real way for me to do that, or on the tabs, but it's a small thing. I really like how it turned out. It reminds me of really, really old concrete, because when concrete gets really old, it starts to change color a bit, and it starts to kind of look nicer too. As weird as that is, it also technically gets stronger, but we're not even going to get into that. But I am quite happy with the way our station turned out. We got our little smokestack for a wood-burning stove. You know, it's going to be Christmas time. Well, it is. It's almost Christmas time. You know, you don't want the poor station master getting cold. Station master? Ticket master. Ticketmaster? I think that's what they're called. My brain's it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm tired. But like I said, I still need to clean everything up. It's got fingerprints everywhere, but I'm quite happy with this. I like my little bench. I think that's my favorite part. Get your tickets here, then just go over here and sit and wait for the train to pull up. The Blue Thunder, I think, is what I decided to call the train. I thought about going down the route calling it like Old 97, but no. That didn't have the best ending. Actually, the train itself did. The engine they rebuilt after the crash and continued to use it until like the 1930s. Which is just great. But, of course, the story that went around the corner at 90 miles an hour is an exaggeration, but there is our station. So, tomorrow will be the controller, which is, if you want to tune out at this point, because the Tinplate stuff's gone, you really shouldn't, because the controller is going to be very, very unique. I'm basing it on an old, early turn of the century to, I think they made them clear up into the 20s, high voltage Markland controller, and they essentially have 2 bulbs on the top. I'll explain why for the originals. Now mine are just going to be decorative, but I'm going to do something kind of unique, and I'm going to add I'm planning on adding a steam whistle to it too. So check it out, and the pictures for this will be up on Instagram. They'll probably be up slightly before this video is. So if you go now, you should be able to see them. And I think that's it. So almost Merry Christmas and Happy Trails.